Good afternoon, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing another video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And I want to talk about rule enforcement in general, not necessarily laws, but those two, I guess. Kind of any rules or policies that are instituted in a location or a facility where people are expected all to follow them, because if the rules are not unilateral, there are complaints about abuse of the rules and special privileges, special treatment of people, and unfair enforcement. Okay, so I'm going to make this a really short video. There's an elegant and simple logical solution to this whole situation. And the problem itself arises from a misunderstanding of the rules themselves. Hear me out. So, for example, I'm going to start with a real easy example. I am currently in a nice, beautiful location. It's a garden, a public garden, privately owned land, but it's open to the public. There's signs everywhere welcoming people into the garden. They can sit here and enjoy themselves, have lunch, whatever. And there's also a little historical center here. But occasionally there are homeless people who, for whatever reason, try to move in, so to speak. And there's the ongoing threat and fear that, somebody might not understand the situation where it's, you're welcome to be here within reason. And here's part of the answer to the problem. Reason. Okay, so you have to understand something. As an administrator or a manager or a policy maker, you have a responsibility to be fair. The rules do not give you a license to be unfair to people. And you actually, if you are enforcing the rules unilaterally, you're committing a crime because you're limiting or empowering somebody unfairly at that point. Hear me out. So I'm saying that you have recourse. You have actually a very, very good argument and alternative in the event of abuse, such as in this situation here in this garden, when somebody tries to move in, or they're, spending the night, or they're just becoming unwelcome. At that point, there is damage. Okay, it's measurable. There's perhaps evidence or not evidence. I mean, just there's eyewitness testimony, if nothing else, that a person is abusing the purpose of the place. Now, purpose is the key word here. The purpose of a place or a tool or a facility or a location, and the intention of the person there. Okay, at which point you can make a determination as a manager, has a problem occurred? Okay, there's a difference between loitering and peacefully using the garden. Okay, there's an actual purpose, and it hinges on the intended purpose of the person in question. So you can't prove it. So here's the problem. We as a society, we as a culture have decided that because intentions are difficult or impossible to prove, that is, someone can lie very easily and say, oh no, I was just meaning to do something else. We have abandoned concern for intentions. But the reality is, every single time the intentions define the nature of the behavior in question. I will say that twice. Every single time a person's intentions, that is what they're aiming to do, defines the nature of the behavior in question. So if somebody is trying to live at the garden, that's different than visiting the garden. They're not trying to visit, they're trying to exist here in a permanent fashion. They're trying to sleep here and make it their bed, their home. Okay, so at which point, now here's my point, final conclusion. You have recourse as an administrator to roll out the rules at that point, because it has become evident in your most logical perspective that a person is trying to abuse the system at that point. And you can invoke the rules. That's what they're there for. I'm not saying get rid of the rules. I'm not saying get rid of the laws or the policies. I'm saying use them as needed after there has been damage, trespass, or some violation of the spirit of a tool, property, or space, right? That's what they're there for. There has to be a problem. If you invoke rules before there's been a problem, then you are punishing good behavior, potentially. If you invoke policies and you make them unilateral, you become criminal by punishing good behavior, and that is unsupportable. You need to understand this as a manager. It's very important to keep your own butt safe, because there's a legitimate, valid complaint if you start rolling things out willy-nilly that affect everybody, such as in this beautiful garden. Reach out if you like with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.